5 precepts. 5 precepts, taking 5 precepts is a very serious decision. It's a strong determination that for the rest of your life, be it 50 years, 80 years, or whatever is the amount of years you're still going to live, you will never ever break these 5 precepts under any circumstance, for any reason, at any time, at any place, with any excuse. You will never ever break the 5 precepts. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's a strong, how do you call it? That's a strong determination. It's a strong decision. It's a strong, it's a change. It's a big change, and you need to be serious about that change. Otherwise, it doesn't work much. So what are the 5 precepts? So you decide that you will never ever kill. No more killing. No. Regardless what the other person or being is doing to you, you will never kill them. Moreover, you will actually cherish their health and happiness, and you will do your best so that they live long, regardless what they do to you. Second, that you will never steal. So we never steal. Regardless what other people do to us, regardless how poor we are, or how much we need something for ourselves or for someone else, we never steal. The community of human will not work if stealing is okay. So we never steal. It's that simple. Instead, we go to school, we study, we read a lot of books, we get a lot of degrees, we make a lot of acquaintances, a lot of friends, we listen carefully, we discuss carefully, so that we can resolve all of our problems happily, successfully, easily, without killing or stealing. It requires extraordinary intelligence to follow these 5 precepts and still stay alive. But you're the lucky people who can go to school. You're the lucky people who have access to internet and who can Google answer for whatever you want. So some people tell me about what to do with the rats at house, what to do with the ants, what to do with the mosquitoes. Google it. There are many people who are catching mosquitoes and rats and ants, and they don't kill them at all. And still they get rid of them, and everybody's happy. Or if you don't find the solution, then you have 2 things you can do. So you definitely must kill, otherwise this is a disaster. Somebody else will die, or you will die. So what shall you do? You have 2 things you can do. One, and there is no advice online. You cannot find it in any book. So one thing you can do is you already know someone who follows the precepts. So you just go up to them and you say, I have this problem, how would you resolve it? How did you resolve it when you had that problem? So you learn it from the other person who already follows the 5 precepts. There are millions of people in this world who follow the 5 precepts very strictly. So you can be sure that they probably have faced the problem that you're facing. So they will know how they resolved it, and so they can tell you. Or if they don't know, or if you don't know anyone who would know, well, then then is the second solution, and that is that you invent it. You make use of your intelligence and you invent a solution that will not break the 5 precepts and still make you happy and successful and peaceful and healthy. So you have 3 sources. One are the books and whatever you can read and listen to and so on, and recordings and internet. Second are the people who follow the rules. So you need to associate people who follow the 5 rules. That's very important. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to follow them. Because if everybody is breaking the rules around you, then it seems as if it is not possible to follow the 5 rules. Now, if you have 1 million people around you who follow the 5 rules, then it's the opposite. You think it is impossible to break the 5 rules. Because nobody is doing it. Nobody breaks the 5 rules, so why would you? Okay? So you need to associate people who follow the 5 rules. And number 3, you study and you learn and you discuss so that you develop your intelligence and knowledge so much that when nobody knows the solution, you can invent a new one. The 3rd precept is avoiding adultery. All right? So the 3rd precept is related to sexual desires. So according to the 3rd precept, we never engage in the so-called sexual misconduct. So what is sexual misconduct? Sexual misconduct is when somebody is married and they have a sexual relationship with someone else than their spouse. And also, if someone is not married and they have sexual relationship with someone who has someone else as their spouse. That makes sense, right? But that's exactly what's not happening. So many people, when they're married, they get bored in their marriage and they think that it's fine to secretly have some other relationship. That's destruction of the family. It's destruction of the trust. And many people believe that it's actually no problem because they are doing it for themselves. They are not harming anyone. They're not causing anyone any physical damage, any possession, any loss of possession. So what could be the problem in adultery? It's the breaking of the trust. If the spouse allows, for example, if the wife allows the husband to have fun with some other ladies, then that's actually fine. And if the husband allows the wife to have fun with some other men, that's actually fine. You see? But that doesn't happen. For some reason, that doesn't happen. The wives don't want their husbands to have relationship with someone else. Why? Well, because there is a secret. There is a trust among the two. All right? So they put all of their secrets, they put all of their trust to the other person. As soon as the other person is with someone else, well, then the secrets can be broken. That's not good. So marriage needs to be maintained. All right? And if the two people are not happy, in Buddhism we don't have any problem with divorce. All right? And in Buddhism it is very recommended if the married people become monks and nuns. So that's something you will not see so much in Christianity or in the other religions. They want to maintain the marriage. In Buddhism, actually, monks are not allowed to encourage a man and woman to get married, but monks are allowed to discourage them from getting married. Okay? Especially if it is in terms of becoming monks and nuns, dedicating themselves to Dhamma. There is no problem with marriage, but the spiritual life is better. That's the point. Okay, so marriage is good, but spiritual life is better. So that's the third rule. Always be faithful to one's spouse and always support the others who have spouse to be faithful to their spouse. Number 4, never telling lies. In the American community, it's extremely difficult to find someone who doesn't tell lies because it is normal. You learn it from the movies, you learn it from the songs, you learn it from the books, you learn it from everywhere. Everybody's telling a lie, so why shouldn't I? When you tell a lie, people will not trust you. It's that simple. So when you do not tell a lie, you suddenly become special in your society. As soon as you become special, you get the benefits. That means others trust you. They will not trust anyone else, they will trust only you because you are the only person who tells the truth. Now be careful. Starting this is extremely difficult because until you stop telling a lie, until you stop telling lies, everybody expects you to tell the truth and to tell the lies. So because everybody expects you to tell lies, as soon as you start to tell truth when everybody would say a lie, then they think that you're deceiving them, that you're playing something, that you're pretending something. Now you're telling the truth, but otherwise you surely tell a lie. And so they're very angry and they may harm you. But that's only in the beginning, so you need to get through that. As soon as everybody sees that you are consistent, that's the magic word. For all of the 5 rules, is the consistence that matters. Consistent means that you are always like that. If you always tell the truth, then people will get used to it. When they get used to it, they will see the benefit in it, and they will start to make use of that. So they will be very happy about you. So whenever they don't know something or they're not sure, they will ask you as the ultimate person to tell them. There are people who tell truth. And those people are very successful, especially if they're adults and they have some special position. Because then they're trusted. They're trusted by the police, they're trusted by the court, they're trusted by others. So then when there is a problem and somebody accuses them, they're still trusted. Do not think that telling lies will get you anywhere. In the end, the other person will find out that you told them the lie and they will not be happy about it. That's part of it. It's part of it, telling a lie and then suffering when the other person finds out. So why would you have to suffer? You just tell the truth. You suffer in the beginning, but again, after some time, people will get used to it, so then they will rely on you. As they will rely on you, they will be thankful. And this gratefulness is very useful in your life. The more are people grateful to you, the easier it is to get their support and help. And whenever you get support and help, it's easy to live. All of us live dependent on support of others. If your teacher doesn't give you any grades, if your teacher doesn't allow you to get into the school, if your parents don't give you any clothes and place to stay and food, if your friends do not lend you their pen or paper when you don't have one at school, if nobody helps you with anything that you need, well then what will you do? You can go to the forest and die there. So we are all dependent on support of others. Remember that. Now you can decide whether you want more support and have it as the people are happy supporting you, or whether you want less support and whenever people support you, they suffer. So it's better when you are trustworthy and when you are a good person so that people support you as the special person who's reliable. Because everybody of us needs reliable people in our life. What kind of brother or sister do you want? Do you want a brother or sister who will tell you lies? Or who will steal your things? Probably not. What kind of husband or wife would you like to have? Someone who is telling you lies? Someone who's getting back home late at night, drunk, after having a relationship with someone else? Probably not. So we always want to have a relationship with reliable people. And it's not just us, but others too. So that's the advantage. Because others need relationship with reliable people. Then when we become reliable, then that's good for us. Because then we become important. We become needed. It's good for us. So we never tell lies. Number 5, never drink alcohol. Even if somebody comes and forces you to drink a little bit of alcohol, we never do that because alcohol is a poison. Why would you drink poison? Like, you don't have anything better to drink than poison? How does it make any sense? So we never drink poison. When somebody comes and says, please have a drink with me, you can say, I believe that this is not good for my health, so I would like to drink water or tea or something. They will say, what's the problem? And you say, well, this is bad for my health. They will say, but everybody is drinking it. Why don't you drink it? And you say, well, because I don't want to damage my health. Fortunately, today, that's actually understood. Many people today don't drink alcohol. For example, those who drive a car, they will not drink alcohol even during a party because they want to get the people from the party alive, to their destination. If the driver drinks alcohol also, well then on the way they will have a crash and they die. So that's not very effective. So it's very common today that people in the parties do not drink alcohol for some reason. So if you say, I'm not drinking alcohol because that's not good for my health. I want to maintain my health so that I can do whatever I want. It's my freedom. And if they say, no, you must drink with us. And you say, but I want my freedom. Will you accept my freedom to decide whether I drink or not? Now I decide I don't drink. And then see, do they give you the freedom not to drink? If they don't, well then they are not good friends. You're a slave, so you are then the slave of the friends. If they don't allow you to have your very basic freedom not to drink poison. So you can check your friends very easily, very fast. The Buddha, if we take it now from the religious point of view, the Buddha said that those who drink a lot will be born in hell, and those who drink a little will suffer from a mental disorder. So anybody who drinks even a little bit, according to the Buddha, in the future, maybe the future life, will be suffering from a mental disorder, will be crazy. Mental disorder. There are many, many mental disorders. It's like when you are ill, but only in your mind. Who asked me? Oh, this gentleman. So, mental disorder is when your mind is ill. That means instead of seeing the floor, you see the sky. Instead of seeing the sky, you see the floor. Instead of seeing a man, you see a monster. Instead of seeing an animal, you see a tree. Instead of hearing people, you hear ghosts, and so on. So that's when you're ill in your mind. The mind doesn't work in a healthy way. Is it clear? Okay. So this is what awaits those who drink alcohol a little bit. Those who drink a lot, well, so better not to drink alcohol anymore. Okay? So now is the best time to stop it. All right, so those are the 5 precepts. The 5th one also includes anything that deludes your mind. Okay, so that includes drugs, such as cannabis. How do you call it in the US? Do you call it cannabis or marijuana or THC? How do you call it? All of that. And what about pot? Does anyone call it pot?
Sometimes there's like many different ones.
Different people call it different way.
Yeah, and they do different things.
That's of course that they do different things. Okay.
So pot's more like a casual way if you describe it. Often people talk about it very casually. would say marijuana instead of pot.
Doctor prescribes it as like treatment for like.
Then it is a medicine, and it's a medicine for a specific illness. So it suddenly is treated in a different way. For example, monks are not allowed to drink alcohol, except when the alcohol doesn't smell like alcohol and doesn't taste like alcohol, and it's a specific remedy for a specific illness that now is present. If these three things are fulfilled, then even monks are allowed to drink alcohol. All right? So you need to be careful. As soon as it is a medicine for a specific disease, then it's actually fine. So now, let's move on to the recitation. The recitation is in Pali language. So I will say, repeat after me in the Pali language, which is Yamahang Wadami Tam Wadeta. Let's do Burmese pronunciation today. Yamahang Wadami Tam Wadeta, which means what I say, you say, or repeat after me. And you please do not repeat that. You only say, Ama Bhante, which means yes, venerable sir. All right? So you can keep your hands together at the chest, which means that you're serious about that. And we can do it together. Yamaha Wadami Tam Wadeta. Yeah, let's try it again. Yamaha Wadami Tam Wadeta. Okay. We will have this several times more, so no worries. Now, next what comes is you will be requesting me to give you the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts out of compassion. So it literally means, I, Venerable Sir, request you to give me the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts out of compassion by me repeating after you. So we will be reciting this 3 times. So let's get into it. Aham Bhante Titaranena Aha Piensatilan Dhamman Yasami Anogahan Katawa Tilandeta Me Bhante Anukampan Upadaya. Now for the second time, Dutiyampi Aham Bhante Titaranena Taha Piensatilan Dhamman Yasami Anogahan Katawa Tilandeta Me Bhante Anukampan Upadaya. Now for the third time, Tatiyampi Aham Bhante Titaranena Taha Piensatilan Dhamman Yasami Anogahan Katawa Tilandeta Me Bhante Anukampan Upadaya. So now we will be paying respect to the Buddha by speech. We've done by the body, now by speech. And we will be reminding ourselves of the 3 predominant or most famous qualities of the Buddha, namely that the Buddha was liberated from all suffering, Bhagavato. He was liberated from all mental defilements, so no greed, no hatred, no ignorance, Arahato, and the Buddha rightly and fully awakened to the truth of suffering and the way out of suffering. So we can keep our hands together at the chest. Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Dhamma Tambodhata Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Dhamma Tambodhata Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Dhamma Tambodhata. So now come the three refuges. So the three refuges literally mean I go for refuge to the Buddha. I go for refuge to the Buddha's teachings, Dhamma. I go for refuge to the community of monks, Sangha. So again, you remind yourself that the ultimate solution for ultimate peace is the Buddha, his teachings, and the monks. So again, we can keep our hands together at the chest. Bodhantaranang gishami. Hamantaranang gishami. Sanghantaranang gishami. For the second time, Dutiyampi bodhantaranang gishami. Dutiyampi dhammantaranang gishami. Dutiyampi tanghantaranang gishami. Now for the third time, Tatiyampi bodhantaranang gishami. Tatiyampi dhammantaranang gishami. Tatiyampi tanghantaranang gishami. So now, because your taking refuges is complete, I will announce to you that taking refuges is complete, and you can agree with that saying Ama Bhante. All right? So let's try that together. Taranagamanam Paripona. So let's try it again. Taranagamanam Paripona. Okay, so now we are moving on to the 5 precepts. So the 5 precepts are the first advice that you get from the Buddha, from Dhamma, from the Sangha, so that you are happy, all right? Of course, it is difficult to follow these 5 precepts, but if you start, there is a high probability that someone else will join you and they will also follow the 5 precepts. All right. So I, as a Buddhist monk, I follow over 91 billion rules. I never break them. Never. For you, just 5. Okay? Isn't that a little better? It's surely much easier. The rules for monks are very strict and a lot, and I never break them. There are times that I break them unintentionally, but I never break them intentionally. Everything that I do is connected to some rules. Many, many tiny little rules about everything that I do. About the way how I'm wearing the robe, about the way how I'm talking, about the way what I'm saying, about who am I with, where am I, where do I go, what do I plan, about my movements, about what I should do, what I should not do. Yes, so many rules. I follow them all. Now, as for you, you can start following the 5 precepts strictly. If you ever have any problem with following 5 precepts, you can ask me. You can be sure that I will encourage you and that I will probably know how to resolve your problem. Because 5 precepts for me are very easy. Because the way how I follow rules is much, much more difficult. All monks should be exactly like that. You will not find many monks who follow all of the rules. But there are at least thousands, if not tens of thousands. All right? So it's very profitable, it's very beneficial for you if you associate monks who follow all rules. I will not stay in the US for a long time. I plan to leave back to Vietnam. I'm from Europe, that's true, but I mostly stay in Vietnam. So I hope to go to Vietnam perhaps next month. So I am not here all the time. But you have other monks here in the US, and some of them do follow the rules. All right? You will find them especially in the Pa'ao centers, but there are many others who are not related to Pa'ao centers. For example, those related to Mahasi centers and others. So it's good for you to find monks who follow rules so that you can always approach them and say, you know, I have this problem and I really need to steal, or I really need to kill, or I really need to tell a lie. What should I do? How am I going to do that? So then the monk is responsible for encouraging you to following the 5 precepts. Monks have 6 duties towards lay people. Lay people have 5 duties towards monks. That's how the community can work happily. 5 duties of lay people towards monks. Think about monks with love. Speak with monks with love. You know, metta, okay? Loving kindness. Act, how do you say that? Communicate with monks, bodily action towards monks must be also done with love, with loving kindness. Lay people support monks by robes, food, place to stay, medicine. And when lay people promise something to monks that they will do or donate to monks, then they should not cancel that. They should fulfill after they have promised. Now, a good news is that lay people can refuse to give monks or to provide monks with anything that they ask for. So lay people are not forced or not expected to give or do anything for monks. It's all entirely dependent on whether the lay people desire to do that. And that desire to do that actually adds the merit. What's a merit? Merit is a good action that brings happiness in the future, either immediately after you do the merit, or later in this life, or in a later life. So, these are 5 duties of lay people towards monks. Loving kindness in thought, speech, and action, supporting monks with whatever they need, and when they promise something to do for monks, that they fulfill the promise. Now, regarding the 6 duties of monks towards lay people. First, encourage lay people to do the good action, to do merit. Second, discourage lay people from doing what is bad. Third, pervade, suffuse lay people with loving kindness. 4, teach lay people Dhamma that they have not heard before, and that is the true Dhamma. Needs to be true. 5, teach lay people the Dhamma that they already know, so that the lay people remember it and understand it better. And finally, show them the path to heaven. Literally, the path. Sagga samaggang ajikkanti. Saggasa means to the heaven. Maggang means path. It's a path, it's a trip, it's going somewhere. Ajikkanti, show. Point out. So monks show the way to heaven. How are you going to be born in heaven after you die? Well, you never know when you die. You may die today, you may die tomorrow, maybe a little later. Who knows? Okay? But it's good to be sure that if you die, then the next life will be a happy life. So you have some options. You can be born in hell if you want. You can be born as an animal. Some people in the West want to be born in animal as some people in the West want to be born as animals. Do you know that? Yeah. They feel like, I'm taking care of my dog so well, I would love to be my dog. But they forget that if the dog wants to go out and the master doesn't want it, then the dog cannot go out. The dog is the ultimate slave of the master. The dog can do nothing. If the master doesn't want the dog to go somewhere, then the dog has no word. The dog cannot even argue. And if the dog does it forcefully, it will get beaten, or it will get put into some animal shelter. So, being an animal, especially being a pet, is nothing you ever want. That's the absolute slavery. It's totally no freedom. And you're expected to behave, to pretend as if you're happy. You have no freedom at all. You cannot go anywhere where you want. And you have no way how to say it. You cannot say, hey, you know what, my dear master, I don't like you, I want to have another master. Can a pet ever say that? No, it's ridiculous. You know, a wife can say this to her husband can say this to her wife. Children when they get 18 or 20, they can say that to their parents. But the dog? No. Never. And the cat the same. And the hamster the same. And the little lizard the same. None of the pets can ever tell their master, you know what, master, I don't like you as my master. I'm going somewhere else and get another master. Nah. Zero freedom. You never want to become a pet. And some pets, before they become pets, they're not lucky to become a pet. So you know what happens to pets that don't become pets? Anyone has any idea? Yes? They get killed. How do they get killed? Sorry?
Natural causes?
No. Not by natural cause. That would be pretty lucky still. Yes?
They are hunted and eaten.
Excuse me?
They are hunted and eaten.
No. I'm talking about the animals in the animal shelters and in the animal shops that do not become pets. Sorry?
They starve, they're abandoned.
No, they're not starved. They're not abandoned. Yes? They're euthanized. What is that? That's a code word. That's a code word. It's a code word for drowning and for gas, for killing by gas. In the US, every year, millions of animals get killed just because they were not bought, because they did not become pets. Hundreds of thousands of dogs and cats and hamsters and little mice and little things, they get killed just because nobody bought them. Because it's not profitable for the seller to have these animals, to get them old and feed them until they die. The seller doesn't have money to feed them all the time. So the sellers just kill them by gas or they drown them. They put, there are videos like that. If you search this in YouTube, it's pretty easy to find. They put all these, like hundreds of cats into one big cage. How to say that? They attach it on a string, and then they drown that cage in water. And then they take it out when all of those cats are dead. That's what's done to the pets who didn't become pets. Not a very good thing. So you don't want to become a pet. All right? So that's another option, being born as an animal. Then third option, being born as a ghost. That's also not very profitable. If you become a ghost, then you have no clothes, no food, you are always starved, you're always hungry, you have no place to stay, it's very cold to you, you're limited to a little piece of land where you can run here and there and shout as nobody is hearing you and nobody cares about you, and you don't even have skin, so you don't look very beautiful. So that's being a ghost, not a very good thing. Then you can become a human, you can become a god, and you can become a Brahma. So you have like these 6 main classes of living beings in the world. Hell, animal, ghost, human, god, Brahma. They're all very different, very different. If you follow the 5 precepts, you have an opportunity to be born as a human, or as a god, or as a Brahma. If you do not follow the 5 precepts, then you do not have that opportunity. So those who drink alcohol, those who tell lies, those who commit adultery, who cheat on their wife or husband, sorry, next life going down. So we call it down and up, all right? So down is when you go to hell, animal realm, or ghost. Up means, well, you would always still say as human because it's up in contrast to the lower realms. So still being born as human is actually up. So we do not have the same, you know. We either have up or down. So being a human is up. So one day the Buddha took a little bit of dust on the tip of his nail, and he says, monks, where are more specks of dust? On the tip of my nail or in the whole world, in this, in the whole world? And the monks say, well, Venerable Sir, on the earth, yes, on the earth. And the monks say, oh, Venerable Sir, on your tip of your nail, there are just a few specks of dust, whereas on earth, there are uncountable, innumerable specks of dust. And the Buddha says, similarly, there are very little beings in the worlds of humans, gods, and Brahmas. But there is a huge, huge amount of beings in the worlds of hell, animal realms, and ghosts. So what does that tell us? That it is very easy to be born down. And it is quite difficult to be born up. Think about it. Now you are born up. Now you are the elite. That's an elite, isn't it? You are some of the little specks of dust on the tip of the nail of the Buddha. The rare species. Okay? So if you want to maintain your existence in these levels, well, then you will need to follow the 5 precepts very strictly, very carefully. Okay, so now we are moving on to the 3rd precept. I've already explained it, so now remains to... Oh, we didn't even start, right? So the 1st precept, it means I follow the precept of refraining from killing living beings. So you can keep your hands together at the chest, that you are sincere. I follow a much more difficult, much more profound set of rules, so I do not keep the hands at my chest. And you can repeat after me. Panatipata Veramani Teikhapadam Tamadiyami. The second rule means I follow the precept of refraining from taking what is not given. It means we never steal. Adena dana Veramani Teikhapadam Tamadiyami. The third precept means I follow the precept of refraining from sexual misconduct. Kametu. Maisasara. Veramani. Teikhapadam. Tamadiyami. The fourth precept means I follow the precept of refraining from false speech, so you never tell lies. We never tell lies. Mutawada. Veramani. Teikhapadam. Tamadiyami. Now the fifth precept means I follow the precept of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking substances that dilute the mind, so taking drugs. Tura meraya. Mizza. Pamadatana. Veramani. Teikhapadam. Tamadiyami. So now you have taken the 5 precepts, so I will encourage you to follow and protect these 5 precepts very well and make effort mindfully. What is it like to be making or to make effort mindfully? That is when you are checking your mind so well that as soon as the littlest desire to break any of the 5 precepts arises in the mind, you crush it and remove it through that presence in the present moment. So you know, aha, this is a desire to break the 5 precepts. Gone. It's away. So you immediately remove it as it appears in the mind. So you don't wait until it becomes strong and difficult to treat. You immediately notice it. So that's why you're mindful. You're always checking the mind. What's the mind doing? That's the way how you never ever break the 5 precepts. Through mindfulness. So then, after I say that, if you agree, you can reply, Ama Bhante. Alright, so let's try that together. Titranena tadhain piensati lantamanta dukanturakidang katawa apamadena tampadeta. So now I will wish you to be happy, healthy, to attain Nibbana, and you can then reply, if you agree with that, you can then reply, Tadhu, 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 which means well said. Alright, so let's try that. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana. Okay. Now let's take a little break, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, thank you. So you can drink water, you can go to the toilet, whatever you want.